Okay, everybody. Today we're going to talk about how to hold a successful open house. Everybody has their own ways of doing it. Some ways work better for others, some don't. So, I kind of hope that you guys can take some ideas from this and then kind of customize it to what works best for you and who you are. We're going to start off with the basics here. If you want to go to the next slide. Okay, so the first step to the open house, if you're a new broker, is finding the right open house. I like to, kind of scour through the office, and everybody usually, you'll have at least 10 active listings in your office at a time, and you kind of, want to target a house that you think is going to get a better turnout from the neighborhood. So I like to find houses that might be close into a busy street. I did one for Courtney, when I very first started, that it was right off of Barnes Road, and you literally only had to take one turn to get in there. You might want to do it in a area where there's a lot of walkability to different shopping and dining. That could be like, that could be St. John's, or that could be like inner, southeast Portland, or somewhere like that. Really, you can kind of strategically find a house because that you'll get a better turnout. Because one house, I've done open houses where really no one comes because it's like far into a neighborhood, and it's hard to find, and you don't have enough signs. You don't have signs, that can really make a difference. And finding a open house to do shouldn't be hard. There's always experienced brokers in your offices that would be glad to have you do a open house for them, because not only do they not have the time to do it, but it makes them look good to their clients, because you can tell them like, hey, I'm doing another open house, for you this weekend, even though I've already done two before, So I know a lot of brokers would really appreciate that. Find a listing that's likely to have a better turnout. This could be based on location, price point, etc. I like to hold up with stuff like easily direct people to with signage and have walkability to shopping, dining. I found that finding a house with that price point, maybe especially in like Beaverton, from like $300,000 to $400,000, you're gonna get way more people coming in than you're gonna have a listing that's over 700 in Beaverton, because there's a lot less of a market out there for a house like that in that area. So think about those things.
Sorry, it went dead. Okay, next.
Yep, next. So, first thing you want to do is, either you or have the broker that you're doing an open house for go to the MLS and say that you're doing an open house at least 3 days beforehand, because what that will do is that'll syndicate to all the IDX sites out there, so Zillow, Realtor.com, Redfin, and that's how the majority of people find open houses these days, is through the internet. And I know this because every time somebody comes in, I ask them, oh, how did you hear about this open house? Sometimes our neighbors just scouring the neighborhood in the area at the time, or they're off a busy car, they're driving and see your sign on the road. But the majority of the time, it's because they're out looking, they're ready buyers, they're on Zillow looking for the open houses that weekend. Study the neighborhood, the home itself. I like to know the demographics, the statistics. Maybe the neighborhood it's more of a Eastern European neighborhood. Maybe it's has more an Asian descent to it. It's good to know those things just before going into it to see who you're dealing with. This might have to do with the food that you're bringing to your open house, or the drinks or whatever it is, because every neighborhood has its own little defined culture and all that. Also knowing the statistics, so you can really get a good vibe of how your open house is going to go based on let's say this house has this neighborhood has houses coming on the market like crazy, they're selling fast, or it's a neighborhood that you had nothing sold in the last 2 years. There is neighborhoods like that. Mm-hmm. So it's just good to know what and I do this. I go in, like I said, I use Altos. So I'll go in and look at that zip code and kind of study that area before, so that when people have questions for me at the open house, which they will, I know the answers to them.
Mm-hmm. And to add to that, inviting neighbors to your open house. I mean, don't forget about them. Just because they live next door doesn't mean that they're not looking for a new house, or that their best friend doesn't want to live next door to them. So I always do 2 houses to the side of the side, 2, and then 3 across, always. No matter what. That doesn't mean you have to hit the whole 200 per home neighborhood. You just just find.
And we'll talk about how to promote your open house in different ways that you can do that. Okay. Right now, I'm going to pass out this sheet. It's called Open Houses That Make Money. It's again, it's a game of numbers, like we've talked about time and time again. And you know, I just kind of want to hand this out so you guys can see it. Basically, oh, sorry, yeah. So there's 3 sheets in each here.
Do you want me to go to the next one?
Yes, please. Yeah. Yep. So, basically on this sheet, you know, it's saying that the current average home sales price in Portland metro area is $3,998, $400. This was in January 2017. The average commission is $9,960. Question: if you knew that you would likely earn approximately $39,840 by conducting 24 open houses this year, 2 per month, would you commit to doing them and writing your business plan? Would you, yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think I would as well.
I
You know?
like money.
So, yeah, you guys can sort of hand those out, and I'll keep talking more. So, these are the ways that I promote my open houses. You know, sometimes I'll just do a handful of these things. You know, I've done it all for one open house before too. So Facebook targeted ads to the neighborhood. I can kind of show you. You know, this is kind of on a case by case, but I can show you how to do this. You know, so basically, you know, you would create a Facebook ad with your listing on it, your photo on there. You can actually promote our property websites. You can share it through the property website on your Facebook, and then you can boost that to a certain location. And I've gotten lots of leads by doing this. And I'll, you know, I'll say open house this Saturday. You want to do this at least probably 4 or 5 days in advance. Start promoting your open house through Facebook. And it's, you know, there's so many targeting abilities with Facebook now that you can really do it by age, income, literally an area, and you can literally put a polygon search around the borders of a neighborhood. It's crazy what you can do. And I've gotten people to come in through the Facebook ad, which is pretty cool and everything.
Is it free?
So to do the Facebook ads, the boost, it's not. So you have to basically, the more money you put into it, the more you get out of it, kind of thing. You pay per impression. So you know, if you know, it really depends on what your goal is. The ad, you want to have some sort of call to action. So I'll have people click out of that into the property website, or I'll either have them go to a lead form and they'll put in their information, like it's like a learn more type thing. Yeah. So yeah, it's very advanced what you can do with it. So I can talk. I have a whole class on just Facebook advertising.
How much do you usually put into for open house? Like $10, $20? Facebook. Just depends on.
It just depends on what. Yeah, I mean, I put in at least probably.
I usually send it for like 250.
I mean, you don't need to. That's crazy. You don't need.
Yeah, but I'm saying for an open house.
For an open house, I would do somewhere
Still,
around the
I mean,
ballpark of $50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Tony said he did $10 the other day and then he got a lead out of it. So I don't.
Yeah.
It really depends. It's kind of hit or miss with how much you spend on it. I'd spend around $50 though. Would be a good amount. Postcards to the neighborhood, so just listed postcards. We have that through our marketing suite. We can do all the design for you and everything. Then it's up to you to kind of send them out. Getting a list of the numbers of tile company, call and invite neighbors in advance. Tile companies can actually do this for you. They can provide Excel spreadsheets of all the people in your neighborhood. The numbers are not always accurate, I will say, but sometimes they are. I mean, if you can make at least 10 phone calls though around your neighborhood, I think totally worth it. You know, door knocking and handing out flyers. Post in the Facebook group, Portland Broker Tours and Open Houses. If you're not in this group, I recommend you guys all joining this on Facebook. It's a way that a lot of brokers out there will promote their open houses, and I've got a lot of agents bring their clients in through it just because they saw my post on. You know, because your job as a broker is to bring as many people into your open house as possible, whether it's agents or consumers. You know. Then sending out emails to brokers in the area, we already do this for you. So we send out emails to all the brokers in the region advertising your open house when you go to do the property marketing suite within Basecamp. And it's kind of nice, you know, like the door knocking, it's really uncomfortable. But if you're just going out and handing out flyers, and it's kind of like just a walk by. You know, like you're giving them something. You're just inviting them to the open house. It doesn't feel as intriguing. Whether it's not like you're knocking on their door and just giving them a sales pitch. You know, you're handing them something. So I have these flyers right here that I use for an open house this year. Kind of an example of something that you can do. If you want to take one and pass it down.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Let's say you're holding an open house for another broker, and like someone comes in and they say that they are looking to maybe list their house sometime in the future. Do you have to refer that person because they're in the broker's house, or can you just capitalize on that?
You can capitalize on that.
That's the whole reason you're doing the open
Yeah.
house.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Yeah,
like
just-
leads.
Is to exactly
Just so you
do
know,
that.
Just want to make it clear.
Yeah.
This is gonna sound kind of terrible, but you're not doing the open house to sell that house most of the time. You're
No.
doing it to find buyers.
Fair enough. Okay.
That's what you do.
All right.
Lead,
I mean,
lead generation.
I just
It's-
wanted to be blunt about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. I thought that was the camera.
No.
Yeah, you can probably go to the next slide. Here.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
You have a dinosaur over there?
Yeah.
I know.
Whose phone is it? Whose phone is it?
It's a landline.
It's a
Oh, it's a room.
Interesting.
Ancient.
That's weird. Okay.
All right, so setting up your open house. I like to put out as many signs as possible and directing from heavy traffic areas to the house. You want people who drive just to happen to be the area as well. I don't like those are a typo. So basically, if let's say you're having an open house in a neighborhood, you want to be able to direct people from that busy street all the way to open house. You want to have a sign on every single corner directing them there. Basically, if somebody were walking the neighborhood, you don't want them to be able to get lost on the way. So it's you're gonna get a lot more people in there if you can just have a sign on every corner, there. And there is a lot of sign laws out there. You want to, really be compliant with them. At the same time, I try to put out as many signs as possible for all my open houses, and I've never, really gotten in trouble for it. So, if only it can only just bring more people to it. So. I like to keep my open house a couple of hours in advance after setting up inside and putting out signs to hand out open house invitations throughout the neighborhood. This is one of the best ways to knock on someone's door without feeling like you're intruding, like I was saying before. So, if they're out on the lawn, that's a great opportunity. If you're just walking by, like, hey, I just want to let you know that having this open house today from 12 to 3. I'd love to see you there. We're gonna have lots of food and refreshments inside. It'd be great to see you there, and it's a great house, and it's just real quick and simple. And not only is it advertising the open house, but has your contact information on there as well.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're comfortable just door knocking around the neighborhood randomly on a weekend, do an open house and advertise that instead.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure all lights are on, the home is staged correctly, and at a good temperature. So one of the first things you want to do when you go to an open house is you want to turn on all the lights on, make it really bright, all the doors are open. If it's the middle of the winter, you obviously want to make sure the heat is on. If the heat isn't on, make sure you contact the seller or listing agent and have the listing agent talk to the seller to have the heat turned on. You want people to make them feel warm and comfortable in the house and everything. And obviously, and stage correctly, clean up. Some I've gone to. You might have sellers that they don't clean up their houses the way you want it to. So it's important to get there in advance so that you can kind of clean up the house and.
Get the dishes out of the sink.
Yeah, exactly.
I've had that
So
happen several
sometimes
times.
you're a full-time cleaner as well in this job. You never know what your role is going to be that day.
Definitely expensive.
So
So the world
true.
can be dusty and floors dirty.
Yeah.
Price that a lot.
Yeah,
Only
and
5 people.
being I think another piece of value you can get is being a staging consultant. So telling them how to prepare the house before they go to.
Do you have to ask permission to clean all this stuff up, or could you just dive in?
I just do it.
Just do it.
I was about to say they can't get mad about it.
If you're moving stuff, ask them.
Okay.
If you're just cleaning up the area, they'll usually understand.
I will tell
Yeah,
you
they'll
that
just
if
put
you
back
do
the
it
way you
once,
found
you
it.
probably won't have to do it again because they'll get the message.
Yeah, exactly.
They
Okay.
won't say it. They're embarrassed that
Yeah,
they didn't
yeah.
do it. Yeah. Okay, next.
All right, things to bring to your open house. This is the most critical thing that you could possibly bring to open house because, yes, you are doing an open house to generate more exposure to the home and get more traffic and to sell the house. But the reality is, most people do open houses to collect leads, and that's what you're there to do at an open house is to collect leads. I started out bringing a sign-in sheet to write their names and their numbers. I found that to not be as effective because not everybody has the best handwriting. I get to the end of the open house and I can't read anybody's emails, their phone numbers, or anything like that. So what I use, I have an iPad and I have an app, a free app called the Open House app. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, Open Home Pro or whatever.
Open Home Pro. Write
Yeah.
this down if you don't already know about this. It's a free app. Basically, just you can ask as many questions as you want on it. Ask for their name, their email, their phone number.
syncs to RMLS too and pulls photos onto it, right?
Yeah, if you want it.
If you,
Yeah,
you can, I think you have to pay for that.
Yeah, you have to pay.
I didn't.
Right.
No, I don't know. I've
You
never,
can-
I've never used that.
Because it has, you have to put in your,
But that could have been because it was my listing. I don't know.
no, I've had it happen before too, but I think like in the beginning, it'll vet you and say, what's your real estate number, you know, blah, blah, blah. So it's like not so that everybody can just have it. But the great thing about it is, and this is what I was saying to Tyler yesterday, is like, when I first started too, I would rarely get people to write stuff down because they feel like, oh, I'll pretend to write something down, and then they write scribbly scratch and then they walk off, and then it's really hard to go, hey, can you come back over here and sign this? But so what I do with the Open Home Pro app is I put out my iPad. I have that kind of be almost the first thing when they walk in. I say, hey, can you please fill that out, and I'll go get you some info about the house. And then that way I'm not giving them a chance to get away and immediately go looking, right? So, and I usually, if I rarely have people who will scoff at it, but most of the time I'll just say, hey, can I get, because the owner would like to know how many people have been in their house. Can you go ahead and do that? And then you just walk away. I can't tell you how many phone numbers and email addresses I get like that now that I used to not
Yeah.
get.
When I first got
Open Home Pro.
Yes, Open Home Pro. And when I first got started, I was really scared to ask people for their contact information. I felt like I was intrusive. And now I have this mindset now where it's like, okay, you're opening up this house for them to come in. You know, you're presenting this opportunity for them to come in. You're allowing them to come in and see a house. So shouldn't they at least take the 2 seconds to write their contact information in? I think they should.
Yeah.
You know, they owe that to you for them for you presenting this opportunity. That's the way you got to see it. So I don't let anybody in unless they're signing in, and I tell them at least sign in. You can use a fake email. I'm not gonna spam you with everything,
Right.
a bunch of stuff. I might send in a drip email every once in a while, but you see what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't actually do that, but
So this has the Open Home. It has certain categories for them to fill in. Do you select
So it goes
that,
like this.
or-
It'll say it'll go name, and you have to write it in, and it won't let them go to the next
awesome.
screen until they put stuff in.
something
The
in
only
there.
thing that it doesn't make them put in is their phone number. But what happens is they've already given you their email address. They've already given you their name, so it's almost like, oh, it's just one more thing. I'll just put it in my phone.
Yeah.
Sometimes people will skip that, but the other great thing about Open Home Pro is that after that person walks away, you can go in and write notes that they can't see. So you can go,
Yes.
person with the red car, and we talked about blah. And then that way you've got something to go correlate.
At the
them
end of
to
an
them.
open house, I'm madly trying to remember what it is, and I
Yeah.
write down notes
Yeah.
on the signing sheet.
Yeah.
But
So,
I think it's open house.
Is
not
it open house?
home.
okay.
Isn't that what the icon looks like on yours?
No, I have
No?
a different one. I have a red one.
Open Home Pro.
I'll get it.
Yeah.
I'll get it for you guys. I don't
Yeah.
think it's on this.
Yeah.
I didn't even keep going. So.
okay, yep.
Yeah.
And so that was that, and then food and refreshments. Courtney.
Oh, sorry.
So food and refreshments. So yeah, I like to bring like some simple. I'll bring like mimosas maybe.
My guy.
Or it could be just waters or coffee. Just something simple, whatever
That's a
it
good
might be.
option.
For a high end home, I'm doing mimosas though,
There you go.
and then maybe some cookies, something light, something for them to eat. You know, it might be just like little sandwiches. You get a little platter from the local grocery store or something like that. The majority of people you'll find won't eat it, don't touch any of it. But it's just nice to have. Makes you look good. Shows that
What
you
about
keep
the
prepared.
mimosas? They're drinking the mimosas though, right?
Yes, you know, it depends on it. It really depends. But yeah, I usually just bring it to them, and they're like, okay, well, once you bring it to them, if you just ask you want a mimosa, they'll say no. But
This would be a weird question, but if they look young and they ask for a mimosa, like, do you ID them?
I do.
I wouldn't worry about that. I mean, I don't think
he
it's.
would have. She
I
says
wouldn't
yes.
think of an
Buying
8-year-old
a house and
mimosa.
under 21.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Fair
It's
enough.
a trust fund baby, and they're already drinking at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I-
what are the pros and cons? Those of you that have been doing it for a long time. Really, what's the advantage in food? What's the pros and cons? And
I
really
just
the
think
value
it
and-
elevates it elevates your presentation. Exactly, you're absolutely right. I mean,
Ambiance, presentation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't tell you like how many brokers tours I've walked into on like for a broker open, and the broker is so cheap that they haven't even brought something for you to nibble on. I find that
Offensive.
well, it's just not classy. It's just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's just part of etiquette, and I mean, you don't have to go spend $100, but you know, just.
Yeah, I've done the
something-
$5 vegetable
Yeah.
platter or cookies. And
Yeah.
latest thing is going around, which I'm doing it too. It's a coffee station.
Yeah.
Keurig with the
Yeah.
Do you think
Coffee.
like, because I've had where if it's like I feel like if it's a new listing, your traffic is like way higher. Do you guys ever cater like how much or what you're bringing depending on how long the listing's been live?
Yeah, kind of. I mean,
Kind of, yeah. It's just
the first weekend I'll go all out.
Totally,
Like, my
that's
spread will
my
be
thought.
like $200 worth of
Yeah.
food. I'm not kidding. And then the next weekend it'll probably be like one platter.
Yeah.
Or you know what I mean. So
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
Yep. No shoes sign-ins. We have those. We have Sumo ones that you can buy too for that. Booties. You can get those at the Dollar Tree for so cheap.
apparently a
And,
title company.
and the title companies will give them to you
Companies
too.
offer everything.
Yeah, First
currently.
American I know is doing it right now.
Okay.
I'm sure the other
That's
ones
big.
are as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
I think
basically,
they don't
I just protecting the seller's carpet and the floorings and keeping it clean and everything like that. So you'll have no problem getting people to put on booties. And it's nice because it gives an extra like 10 seconds where they you can actually kind of build rapport with them as they come in. So like as they're like either they're taking their shoes off or putting booties on, you got a chance to kind of like ask, oh, are you live in the area? How long have you been looking, that sort of thing. So I bring MLS printouts. So I'll have my MLS printouts, which is more the information side of things, and then I'll have the flyers, which is has the branding side of things. So I'll bring at least like 50 MLS printouts and 50 flyers at the open house, and I'll have those spread out on the kitchen counter for them to grab. And then MLS printouts are important also for yourself because you're going to want to have those in case they have any specific questions. When was the house built? How much square footage is it? Things that you might not necessarily always
Just make sure that's
remember.
the client.
Yeah.
Not the
Make sure
agent
it's
full.
make sure it's the client full, so they don't see the private remarks that you put in. And then marketing pamphlets targeted towards sellers. I left this in my car. I meant to bring this in. I can show you guys it. So I have this stand-up thing that I have at my open houses that kind of markets me towards sellers because I leverage open houses a lot to get new listings. And it kind of explains my value proposition, what I will do for them. For sellers, and then it has my face on there and my all my contact information, and I have that just sitting on the kitchen counter. Some people will have like marketing pamphlets that they can hand out, telling them a little bit about yourself. I think that's huge. Obviously, lots of business cards. You want to bring at least 100 business cards to every single open house and just hand them out. Every single person that comes in, I don't care. You're handing them a business card. They should all walk out with one of them.
I got some really quirky business card holder. Got this little rubber armadillo.
Oh, nice.
You like spray your business cards out, but it's a talking point. I get heaps of people talking to me about that, and
Yep.
other ones with a little thing. And I put that next to the signage sheet, and then also around the house.
Great. Yeah, absolutely. Brody at your open house did a little pyramid of business cards on the kitchen counter.
It's pretty expensive kitchen. You
But
can.
then you don't want to take one, then you're gonna have to
Mess it up.
yeah,
Yeah,
mess
it's
up
like,
the
oh,
pyramid.
it's the Christmas tree. Marker reports. I like to go. Like I said, I have Altos, but there's other programs out there that that have the same thing, and that way they can get a little information on the neighborhood, statistics. What's the average home price, price per square foot, that sort of thing. Music. So I'll bring a little Bluetooth speaker in there. I like to put a little Frank Sinatra jazz on.
Don't put like
Screamo.
yeah, Lil Wayne on, or like Two Live Crew on. They don't,
Or
people
like
don't like.
Tiesto, just make it like a.
Yeah, till dance
Well, what if
party.
you're doing
Yeah.
a tequila party?
I don't know. That's I think
Mariachi.
that's his.
You had my mind on
Get a
that one.
mariachi band. Tell them.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. do you
But yeah,
want me-
Bluetooth speaker. Yeah, you guys get it. I do something soothing though. So I just consider a party with the lender and have them sign people in at the door. So let's say it's it's an open house. You expect to have a lot of people coming through, right? A lot of traffic. You can't manage to walk two or people around the house and sign people in at the same time, right? So sometimes it's either nice to partner. This could be a lender or a broker, insurance agent. Whoever it might be, and they can kind of sign people in the door. I like to do it with the lender because they also can get people pre-approved on the spot too. All the buyers that are coming in. And then having a children's play area with toys. The lender that I partner with on the house is always brings that himself, just in case there's little kids roaming around. Kind of lets the parents focus on the house itself and on you. Let the kid, so they don't have to worry about the kids the whole time. Drink mixing area, catered appetizers if it's a high-end listing. I'm gonna play a video after this that'll kind of explain how you can do that. Have people fill out raffle tickets and do a drawing for a free gift card. Facebook Live it. I think this is an awesome idea for new agents out there because not only are you getting their information when they fill out the raffle ticket, whoever wins the drawing, you can you get face to face with that person again that came through your open house, and it and it also gives incentive to people to come to your open house. So like you can advertise in advance saying like, hey, come to my open house. I'm doing a drawing there. If you come, give me your business card or enter a raffle ticket. I'm gonna do a drawing at the end, and you'll win a $50 gift card to Starbucks, or something like that. And then you can face this opportunity for social media to Facebook Live it. And people are seeing that you're doing open houses and everything like that. I know a broker that he does the raffle drawing, and he pretends like everybody wins. So that's a way of getting face to face again with everybody that came through his open house. So he'll call them up like, hey, you won the raffle, and then that's a way for him to go back out there and win face to face. Like going back to what we've talked about before, it's about key in the business is getting face to face with people, and so. That's just another trick you can kind of pull.
I've done that in the radio. Extra tickets, you won. The next caller, you won.
Yeah, but that's ask yourself if you do a post open house mixer and invite people during the open house.
What is, I don't understand that. What's a house mixer?
So, this is, definitely like, maybe it's not, might be best suited for like the Portland market, and you gotta definitely have a relationship with your seller that they're gonna allow you to throw a party. They gotta see value in you, throwing in a party there, inviting neighbors and stuff like that.
Builders do those kind of things often. If they're if there's 5 houses going live at the same time, they do a little neighborhood barbecue
Have a band
outside.
come out and stuff. Yeah.
As a mixer as a party.
A party.
Okay.
Something like that. You can call it whatever you like, some sort of party.
I was just an Australian American terminology I didn't understand.
I actually didn't know.
You didn't know what a mixer
I
was?
thought it was like a Margaritaville mixer. I was like, what do you
Yeah,
mean?
that's what it is. It can be
Friday.
a cocktail mixer. That's what I'm basically saying it is. Something.
But
Okay.
party or barbecue.
Like, hey, and again, this is gonna be in this video. That's called the open house, open bar. I think you've seen. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, right?
This guy parties, but he knows how to make money.
Yeah.
Right?
Can you go to the next slide, Courtney?
Oh yeah.
Okay, here it is.
Okay.
Can you press play and then expand it to the
Yes.
screen?
So the next person that I get to bring up, I was on the phone with him this last week. Oh my gosh,
That's
like,
right.
honestly one of my favorite people inside the entire organization. This dude has so much fun, enjoys life. How many of you love to party? How many of you did not suck? Really like that? Like, work doesn't have to suck, right? So I'm going to bring up my good buddy, super stud, very fun, Mr. Kyle Whistle. He's going to talk to us about open house, open bar, baby. Open house, open bar.
This is pretty extreme. This is for the luxury houses in San Diego, but I hope you can take something out of this and apply it to it and make it fun. People like fun.
He goes like a partier.
Yeah, he does.
Alright guys,
It's a money making.
so what I want to ask is a couple questions to get started today. How many of you guys came here to the summit to learn how to make more money in your business? Raise your hand. Alright, how many of you, Sharon, I know this one includes you, how many of you guys came to the summit to get drunk and network? Let's be honest, right? There's a lot of us that came here to do that.
Tom Perry song.
So I've got 18 minutes to show you guys how you can do both of those and have fun doing it at the same time. Thank you. If Tom's going to call my talk open house, open bar, then we might as well have an open bar while we do this.
He's the only one that gets it.
I want to tell you a little story of kind of how I got to be here, how to be up on this stage. I started in the business around 2008, 2009. Did a lot of short sales, kissed a lot of asset manager ass trying to get REO properties. First year in the business, I closed 24 transactions. I've always had an assistant from day one. Like Tom says, if you don't have an assistant, you are the assistant. So don't be stupid. I don't care if it's day one in the business, year 1, or year 10. Get an assistant, otherwise you are the assistant. Second year in the business, some of that ass kissing started to pay off. Started getting some REO assignments, some of the smaller banks that were out there.
This is during
Short sales were rolling, did
2001.
42 transactions my second year in the business. Third year in the business, started to grow a team. There's kind of a limit of how much you can do as an individual, especially here in San Diego. Higher price points, we don't do the volume that people might do in the Midwest. So third year, grew a team, did 82 transactions the third year. By the fourth year, things were rolling. We landed a HUD account, we landed a Fannie Mae account. We were consistently closing 200 plus transactions in our business. Then 2013 came and we started to see the writing on the wall that REO was falling, that short sale was falling off, and we knew we had to make a change in our business. So for me, it was time to switch over to traditional. And when it comes to going after traditional business, like Eileen was talking about, you've got to play to your strengths in this industry. If you're uncomfortable being on the phone, the thought of cold calling people gives you, hives and makes you freak out when you think about cold calling, then you probably shouldn't go after FSBOs and expireds and circle dime. That's probably not for you. If you're not techie, you don't have to do what everybody else does. You don't have to go and do SEO and pay-per-click and Facebook and all of that marketing. And if you're uncomfortable being in front of a camera, you've got a face for radio, whatever the case may be, you probably don't want to go after video. That might not be for you. So for me, my strength, my entire life has been throwing parties, whether it was high school, college, after college, today. Some people are coming to a party we're throwing tonight. That's always been my thing in life, is to throw parties. So you want to play to your strengths. And so I've been coming to these success summits for a number of years now. And Tom's always talked about the mega open house, all the things that you do to prep for it. And then the thing that really struck a chord with me was when he talked about doing the neighbors only open house. And he talked about doing it an hour before the actual open house gets going. And, having it catered and stuff like that. And that's cute and all, but that's not a party. So I wanted to make it into an actual party. And so the first time I did this, it was 2014. So my first year shifting over to traditional business, got my first listing in my farm. And I just decided I wanted to go all in, and I wanted to do something to be memorable. I wanted to make sure that I did things completely different than anybody else has done them before in my neighborhood. And so what we did is we planned our first open house. We called it a neighbors only wine and cheese open house. We did it from 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock on a Friday. That's right when everybody's typically going to happy hour. It's been a long week. Everybody could use a drink at that point. So we did it from 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock. The first one I did, I had about 20 people come to the house. And again, we were supposed to end at 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock came around, I still had a dozen people in the house. 7:15, 7:30, I still had a dozen people in the house. Everybody was having so much fun, I literally had to kick everybody out of the house because the owners were coming home. And the best part is people started planning an after party for my open house. It was amazing. Everybody was like, well, let's not stop partying, let's go to my house. I was like, wow, I'm onto something here. This is something different. This is something really cool. So what I want to do is start getting into the slides and show you guys a little bit about how we plan these events, how we put all of this stuff together. And the thing that's most important when it comes to open houses or marketing in general is you don't want to rush it. You want to take your time with things. Too many people, they go on a listing appointment today, they get really excited. Half of you guys still take pictures with your iPhone, and I make fun of you in my listing presentation. But half of you guys, you go on the listing appointment, you're so excited you got the listing, you break out the iPhone, start taking pictures, put the property on the MLS the next day, set up an open house on Saturday, and you show up with 4 or 5 signs, and you hope people are going to make it, and nobody shows up to your open house, and you go back and say open houses are stupid. Well, the only thing that's stupid is you, because you're missing a huge opportunity. So first thing you want to do is pick the property that you're going to do the open house on. Obviously, in a perfect world, you're holding your listings open. But I know some people might be newer, some people might be new to going after listings. So you want to go after specific properties that are going to do well with an open house. Some of the keys, the normal, good location, 1 or 2 turns off a busy street, that obviously rings true. Also, doing your open house the first weekend the property hits the market. When the most eyeballs are on that property, that's when you want to do it. Trying to do an open house on a stale property that's sat around for 2-3 months, it's probably not going to be that effective. And the thing that I found is actually really, really important is picking a house that has some unique features to it. Here in San Diego, most of the homes are built from the 50s and later. There's a few homes built in the 20s and 30s, but almost everything is built in the 50s. They're ranch style, Mediterranean, Spanish style homes. That's about all we have here in San Diego. We had a listing recently that was a Cape Cod style home, which is extremely unique for San Diego. We did an open house there. We had about 100 people come through that open house in a 2-hour window. And every single one of the people that came through that house was a neighbor. or what I like to refer to as my future sellers. So those are clutch. We did another one at a house that had an infinity pool. A lot of people have seen pictures of infinity pools, but not everybody's seen one in person. But when you do an open house and there's an infinity pool, everybody in the neighborhood wants to see that because everybody else is thinking about doing an infinity pool just like that. So picking the right property is crucial. Next thing is picking the right kind of party. In my neighborhood, there's 4 breweries within a 1-mile radius. So in my neighborhood, we can get away with doing like a beer and wings party. We've done beer and pizza. That works really well in my particular neighborhood. I don't know if you guys realize this, but you're about 10 minutes from Mexico right now if you hop in a car. So there's some neighborhoods in San Diego where there's a lot of Mexican flavor to them. So doing something like tacos and margarita can work out really well in the right neighborhood. Or the easiest one is wine and cheese. Go to Bevmo, buy a few boxes of wine. You get the 5-cent wine sale. You buy a whole box, you get another 10% off. Good discount. And just buy in bulk. And those are the easiest parties to throw. We maybe spend $200 on the wine to throw one of those parties. Especially if you're in a luxury neighborhood, spend a little bit more, spend some more money. Have it catered. Have some music. Have all of that stuff. But really set the stage and have a fun party. Next step is mailing out invitations. I guarantee you 99.9% of the people on this earth have never received a formal invitation to an open house before. They've gotten them for weddings, they've gotten them for graduations, but they probably never received one before for an open house. So this is something, and you're going to notice a theme here, is be memorable. Do things that nobody else does in this industry. We use Vistaprint to send out our invitations. I'm sure there's a million other websites you could send those out on. But sending out a formal invitation in the mail is going to be something that nobody else is doing, and it's really going to make you stand out from the crowd. And again, because if you're rushing things, you're not going to have time to make an invitation, have it mailed out, and all of that stuff if you're trying to do an open house in 2 days. So it's important to plan. If you sign a listing today, the earliest that listing should be going active, and you having an open house is next weekend, not this weekend. There's not enough time to put together a solid open house. Next step, door knocking. In our office, we have 2 different types of door knocking. We refer to hard knocking and soft knocking. What hard knocking is where you physically walk up to every single door, one by one, knock on that door. Hey, Mr. Owner, my name's Kyle Whistle. We're doing an open house right across the street from you at 123 Main Street. Want to invite you to come by. We're going to have wine and cheese. I hope you can make it. And just roll with it. The problem with hard knocking is you can only cover so many houses in a limited amount of time. So what I like to do is just hard knock the immediate neighbors, maybe 10 to 20 neighbors, because those are the people that are going to see your sign every single day when they're leaving for work, when they're coming home from work. So those are your most likely future sellers. We also will soft knock the neighborhood, and that's where you're going around with a flyer, inviting everybody to come by, but you're just door dropping them. If somebody's in the garage, out on the front porch, in the yard, playing with their kids, whatever the case, those are the people you want to strike up a conversation with. That way you're getting a good amount of conversations, but you're covering a lot of ground at the same time. Next up, circle dialing. For us, we use Cole, C-O-L-E, Realty Resource. You put a pin on a map, draw a circle a mile around it. I give that list to my ISAs because I hate cold calling and it makes me get hives when I think about it. They draw a circle a mile around it, load it up into Mojo, and they rip, and they'll call 200, 300, 400, 500 people and invite them to the open house. Next step, social media is huge. What's cool, Facebook recently changed things to where you can run an ad, not just to a zip code and a radius around it, but you can run an ad to a specific address and a radius around it. So Brian, my media guy who's up here in the front, will record an actual invitation video to the open house and speak directly to the neighbors in that video, because we know only the people within 1 mile are going to see that video. In addition, Facebook groups and Nextdoor are huge. If you don't have a Facebook group for your community, start one. If you don't have a Nextdoor community for your neighborhood, then start one. And post the actual events on those. So go on there and post a full-on Facebook event page, and that'll automatically invite all the neighbors. When one neighbor responds that they're going, all the other neighbors are going to see they're going, and they're going to want to go. And it really is huge. And you want to just pitch it as, come check out this cool house, meet all your neighbors, and have a drink while you're there. People love that. It's social. People don't know their neighbors, and they see this as an unintimidating way to get to know their neighbors. In reality, what they're doing is coming to an event that they're going to remember because they've never seen that before. It's to the point now where when one of my signs goes up, I start getting calls and texts, hey Kyle, when's the party? Which is amazing. I love that, right? Next step. Seems simple, but make sure you put it on your MLS, make sure it's on Zillow, make sure it's Realtor, Trulia, all of that. Here in San Diego, if we put it on the MLS, it automatically syndicates to Realtor. Zillow and Trulia, our MLS doesn't get along, so you've got to manually put it on all of those right now. But make sure it's out there. Tons of people are searching online, looking for open houses on an average weekend. Next step, this is key in being memorable. You want to do an open house booklet. We use Cloud CMA. So instead of just putting an MLS printout at the property, which I've been a realtor for a long time and I can't even read those things yet, so don't give those to consumers. Those things are like hieroglyphics to consumers. They don't know what the hell is on there. So give them something that they can actually digest. With Cloud CMA, what we can do is we'll give all the info on the property, how the whole home buying, home selling process works, info about local schools, local restaurants, all kinds of information, and it's in an actual booklet format, almost like a magazine. That's something they're going to take with them and they're going to remember. It's all about being memorable with this stuff and doing things that nobody else is doing. Next up is open house signs. I think one of the number one reasons people aren't doing open houses is because they don't want to put their signs up. You don't have to put your signs up. If you're putting your own signs up, you're stupid, flat out. There are tons of kids in high school on Craigslist, TaskRabbit. There's plenty of people that will happily put signs out for you for minimal amount of money. Okay, so don't be afraid. Go on there. We find people between $50 and $100. We can get all of our signs put out. Depending on the property, we're doing between 50 and 100 signs at an average open house. At my main intersection where I do mine, I normally have 30 signs at one intersection. So go overboard when it comes to the signs.
Yeah.
And when you do your signs, don't go overboard with the amount of information you put on there. A lot of people put way too much information. They put their name, the brand, open house, their Facebook login, their YouTube, their phone number, their face, their Tinder profile. I mean, they put everything on there. You don't need all that crap. If you've ever, pay attention to this moving forward, when you see a billboard, there's typically 5 to 7 words on a billboard. And those are gigantic. Those things are like 50 feet wide. And they're only putting 5 to 7 words on there. So why are we putting 20 words on an 18 by 24 inch sign? Think about that. You want to brand yourself. You want them, again, to remember, be memorable. Make sure they remember your name. Make sure they remember your brand, your colors, all of that. But you don't need to go overboard. And don't put your face on there. Nobody can Google your freaking face. They can Google your name, but they can't Google your face. This isn't CSI. So get your name, or get your face off of your signs. Next up, partner with your lender, or what we refer to him as our bouncer. Don't do an open house without a door person. You must have somebody at the door. It doesn't do you any good to do an open house if you don't get anybody's contact information that comes through. I don't necessarily want to share leads at every open house I do. I don't have to share leads if I have a lender. If I partner with another agent, then we've got to figure out, are we doing an up system? What are we doing? How are we going to divvy up the leads from this open house? Having a lender at the front door, I give them an iPad, Open Home Pro, it's a must. And they don't let anybody in the door unless they sign in with that Open Home Pro app. And if you think that putting a piece of paper on a counter and people are going to actually go and sign that crap, you're crazy. They're not going to sign it, and if they do, they're going to scribble it to where you can't even read it if they even give you the right information. So start using Open Home Pro, and don't be scared and think people aren't going to sign in. Everybody will sign in. We get so many more valid signups by using Open Home Pro than we ever did before when we were using paper. And then it's cool having a lender there, is if somebody does want to refi or has some questions about moving up or moving down, they're there to answer them. Next step is, once the party gets started, be memorable. Make sure everybody there is having a good time. That's your job. Make sure they have a full glass. Make sure they've got some food. Mingle, bounce around the crowd, work everybody. Make sure you know who they are. Ask everybody, what's your name? What street do you live on? And try to get something memorable about them and write that down. I'll usually keep a little booklet in a drawer. I'll go back as soon as I'm done talking to somebody, write their name, I'll write down what street they live on, and then I'll write down a quick note about them. So that way when the open house is over and I'm following up with them, I know what to connect with them on. And then here come the 2 most important parts of your entire open house. As soon as it's done, the beauty is you paid somebody to take those signs down for you. So your open house is done, and you can go to that after party if you want to. Or you can go back to your house or your office and you can upload all of those new leads that you just got into your CRM. As soon as I upload them, I'll send every single person a video with BombBomb, and then I'll also send them a handwritten card with send-out cards. Because you want to make sure to jump on it, make sure it's fresh, and they're going to remember you. You're doing so many things. You've door knocked them, you've mailed to them, you've door dropped, you've done so many things. You want to make sure these people never forget about you, and you're top of mind when the time comes for them to make a move. Last step, it's all about the follow-up at this point. So I already talked about what I do, same day follow-up, but then we like to put every single lead or future seller into Market Snapshot. It's a top producer move.com product, and it'll just send them an update once a month, let them know what's going on in the market, what homes are selling for, help them get a rough idea of what their home is worth.
Really
By giving
interesting
information to people, they see you as a valuable resource. So we put them on that. We partnered with Viral Marketing, a local company here in San Diego, VYRAL Marketing, and they send out videos twice a month for us. I just sit in front of a camera for 5 minutes, record a couple videos. They do everything. They upload them to YouTube, drop in backgrounds on green screen, put them on our blog, send them out to our database, send us a report who watched them. It's great. So we're hitting them 12 times with Market Snapshot. We're hitting them 24 times through Viral Marketing. And then we do 4 client appreciation events a year. We call every one of those, so there's 1 per quarter. We call every single person, invite them to come to those. And it just really helps you stay in touch and stay top of mind and be memorable to all of your future sellers. So at the end of the day, like I mentioned, we were doing around 200 deals a year when we were peaking out at REO and short sale in 2013. Our first year transitioning over to traditional real estate in 2014, our team finished the year ranked #1 in the entire county by the Wall Street Journal. And in 2015, we're on track to close 365 transactions, which is 1 transaction every single day in 2015. That's my talk. I like old fashions with Buffalo Trace vodka, and I will not sleep with you if you buy me one.
You know, that's the importance of, really taking the commissions the money that you do get in this business and reinvesting it in your own business. So a lot of people say the first thing you should do after your first year in the business with your commissions is take that money and get an assistant and continually build from there. Because
After your first sale?
What? After after your first year in your business, it could be your first sale.
Okay.
Basically, I'm just stressing the importance of reinvesting it back into your business because nobody wants to be just a realtor their entire life. They want to be able to grow a team that they can kind of leverage other people's time and be able to eventually have an exit strategy and have a business that they can eventually sell to somebody else or something or so.
Does anyone in here have an assistant or?
I did for a long time, and then I.
You're also at a different point in your life. You
Right.
got family, kids, and everything.
Yeah.
So it depends on what your goals are.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm comfortable with the amount of business I do. I don't want to be an $80 million a year producer. I mean, that sounds crazy, but I'd rather have a good work-life balance, and I want, So, I mean, that is what it's all about, is what are your goals, which was what we started out with originally, right? And it's like, if you want to do 1 transaction a month, that's darn good living. I mean, if you can sustain that, but again, you have to do these open houses and lead generation and sphere, reaching out to your sphere.
Right. Like my dad, that's how Sumo was really started. He started off with 1 transaction coordinator, and then eventually he got a marketing person. Then he got another. When you start to get enough business in and build that funnel, you can start to get support. So that eventually you can kind of back off and focus on other things. So yeah.
Can we talk just a little bit more about the follow-up?
Yes.
It seems like the main purpose of the open house is to get leads. Okay,
Right.
so you throw your party, you drink your tequila, you get everybody drunk, everybody has a really good time. I'm exaggerating.
Right.
And then there's the morning after. Okay,
Right.
I got all these leads on my super cool iPad app.
Yeah.
So what do you do? Do you call? Do you send postcards? Do you email? Do you do all of those things? Do you put them into your CRM and start working them like normal, or what do you do?
What I'll do is I'll put them in MailChimp and just say thank you for coming to my open house, and if you have any questions at all about the market, the home, I'd be happy to help and be a resource to you. If you're not already working for an agent, I love to work with you and help you achieve your dreams of finding a home that suits you and your family.
And that's an email, right?
Yeah, and that's an email. And then what I'll do, and after that, I'll pick that, and I'll take them and put them into a monthly drip campaign.
Sure.
And that's so I'll send out my market reports and then my market updates and tips and tricks, whatever that might be.
Okay.
And then I'll also give them follow up with a call and tell them, just want to say, again, kind of we did in the email, say, hey, I just want to thank you for coming to my open house. Mr. Nay, do you have any questions at all about the home, the market, and just talk to them. Really.
This guy mentioned a video, sending out a video.
Yeah, you can do
Wouldn't
that too.
be like just a
Same thing.
same thing, different format, right?
We have, you can have access to it in our a la carte program, right? I mean, isn't it?
Yeah, we have our own
But
account with BOM, so that we what?
BOM.
Yeah, BOM, the way
Yeah.
it gets spelled.
Yeah.
And we have our own Suma template in there too. It needs to be probably updated a bit, but there's a lot of video services out there now that you can use, like BOM if you don't like that one too.
But yeah, you just set up your computer and you're like, hi, Tyler, it's Courtney Clark. Thanks for coming to my open house. Appreciate it, blah, blah, blah. And you get to see if they clicked on it, if they opened it, if they watched it, how many times they watched it, whatever. And not everybody is going to like that. One time I heard somebody had emailed back like, this is so invasive. I can't believe you're doing this. But most everybody is like, wow, cool. Thanks for sending me a video. So most of the time people actually feel like it's nice because it's different. It's a little unique and you're not, and you're still just sending out an email to them, so.
I feel like it makes like a pretty big impact. Like who gets a video? Like nobody else like, sends
After an open
video.
house.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
differentiate yourself.
What about the text video?
Yeah,
That doesn't give you that tracking though.
It is.
Send it.
Well, you could do a read receipt.
Yeah, that's another one that would be
Yeah.
great. And you can kind of gauge just from the open house who's really seriously buying. The majority of people are probably just neighbors trying to come check it out, or they're working with an agent.
Yeah.
But heck, if there's somebody that said they're looking right now and they don't have an agent, then best believe I'm calling them right after the open house and
Right
setting
after
the
the open
time
house.
to go look at properties. That's gold on a plate, right there.
Right.
Take advantage.
So you would literally call them like moments after the
Yeah,
open
you
house
just gotta
is
gauge
over.
it, based on a person by person basis. But yeah, I mean, there's sometimes those open buyers will come to the open house that I'm setting up with the lender and having them call them right there, get them set up. So
Yeah, same day, the next day.
I usually email them that evening, and then I might follow up 2 days later and say, hey, did you get my email? I just wanted to say hi. Thanks again for coming by. If they don't answer, that's the thing, like he said, you really have to gauge each individual person.
Yeah.
And, this is the next slide is about greeting people at open houses.
Right.
And, one thing that you have to start to be really good at as an agent or as a salesperson, right, is creating that immediate connection, right.
And we use, in my other life, form. So remember form, F-O-R-M, form. You can connect through family, occupation,
Yep.
recreation, what they like to do, and motivation, like why are they there? Are they considering buying or selling? So
Like that.
if you can make a connection,
I agree.
like somebody might have like a really big diamond on it, right? You might say, wow, that is a really nice ring. How long have you been married? Oh, I've been married for 15 years. Oh, that's so cool. So have we, And so, or whatever that is, you might bomb out on that too. So then you might switch over. Well, hey, what do you like to do for fun? And you might connect on that level. But
just be a normal person.
Yeah.
Just
right.
act as if it's like you're just meeting friends, and
Yeah.
everything like that. Not everybody likes to feel like they're getting pitched, all the time.
Yeah.
So
Right.
just being a normal person.
Most people
Yeah,
don't.
I think a lot of
Yeah, most
sales
people
is just
don't.
kind of
Yeah.
common sense too. Like, I don't like it when a salesman comes up to me and he's like, "Oh man, like this is the last one. You got to get it. We'll give you a really great deal." I'm like, "Nope."
Even if you want it, you're like, no.
No,
Right.
yeah,
Just
right.
because.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I just don't like
Same with us.
pushy people.
I did the handshaking thing at my last one.
Yeah.
This one couple totally were just like shaking their
Yeah.
head. I'm like,
Really?
okay, no worries. I didn't say that, but in my head I'm like,
That's-
sure,
that's-
sure.
yeah.
And I just let them walk into the next room.
That's
and
the
like,
kind of person you don't want to do
Don't
business with.
discourage,
No.
get discouraged by that. I mean,
No, no.
99% of
I
people-
laughed a little bit to
Right.
myself.
It's about you.
Crazy.
I'm like,
It's about them.
Yeah.
It's
That's like when Tyler's getting
what
hung
else?
up on or cussed out on the phone and he just laughs now.
That's what I
because
did
he
in my
knows it's
head.
not about him, it's about
Yeah.
the other person.
Yeah.
So you just kind of got to detach
Yeah.
from that.
You've got enough rejection. You just start you don't care.
Yeah.
People have very different personal space things as well. So I just figured kid maybe just wasn't
And
that
that's-
type to like touching
So-
strangers. Some people just like don't.
This is what I was getting at though, is like if you get that immediate connection, you have to be a master at observation. And what I mean by that is somebody walks in and they've got a keychain on, and it says BMW on it, and you're like, oh, what's your favorite BMW? And then they're like, oh, I just got the blah, 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 and then you get to sit there and chat about cars with them. And then, or they have a keychain on and it says University of Portland Pilots. And you're like, oh, you're a pilot? Are you an alumni from there? No, my kid is. Oh, cool, my husband went there. I'm just saying, like, you have to be a master of observation. You see that they have a dog sign on the back of their car, love dogs. And then you're like, oh, what kind of a dog do you have? It just, it creates that guard that they already have up, and it gets them down, and they're more likely to give you more information without you having to ask for it. But to his point too, be careful though too, you don't want to one-up people. No one likes a one-upper, and what I mean by that is,
we've only been married for 15 years. We've been married for 25.
Exactly. Or hey, I like your motorcycle you got out there. How long you had that motorcycle for? Yeah, I have a Ducati, blah, blah, blah. Like,
Right.
oh, you have a BMW that's old, I have an M5. Like, that doesn't, that doesn't sit well with people. Having the commonality does, but not one-upping them. So just
Tell
be
them you
careful.
have a BMW, but don't,
Yeah.
Right. I mean, and you just don't want it to come across as inauthentic
I'd
to
love to
somebody
have a
else. who hears it.
BMW.
That's
my commonality.
Just keep calling
Just
your
don't
spirit
brag
you can
about
have
how
one.
much cooler yours
It's
is
a
than
brand new
theirs.
one that's not even out yet in the spring before anybody else. So
I'm very excited about it. Anyways, but yeah, the point is that, these are just things, I mean, and I don't know if you want to go into this, but.
I'll go through them. So this is exactly what you need to do for, at least this is what I do. You guys can take what I do and kind of tailor it towards, who you are and what you would like to do and, who your business is. So, first thing I do when people come to open a house after everything's set up is I smile and I welcome them in. I say, hi there, welcome, come on in. And I smile, and then I shake their hand. I go, hi, I'm Tyler Horst, and I shake their hand, and I'm just smiling, and it's all gloomy. And then I ask them how they're doing today. How are you doing today? And then politely to ask them to remove their shoes, because this is a good, buffer between, getting, whether your iPad, get them to sign in, gives a few seconds at least. And then I tell them to feel free to roam about. Let me know if you have any questions. So after they start to remove their shoes, I go, feel free to roam about throughout the house. Let me know if you have any questions at all. I hope you like it. And then you go grab the sign in your iPad. And then you just say that the seller asked that everyone signs, so they're going to have a head count of everyone who came by, and say it just very politely. And the majority of the time, they'll have no problem doing it. If they do create a fuss over putting their information in, just say, just your name is fine. They just wanted to have a head count of who came by. But try to get as much information as possible. So, I'm going to go to the next slide.
Right.
Okay, this is something that you can do. I grab them a refreshment, so maybe that's just a water bottle, and then I like I said, I already gave them my iPad for them to sign in, so that's gives them a chance to sign in, because it might take them a little bit of time to write in all their information. So I go grab them a drink, bring it back, and by then they're usually signed in. I slowly let them go. You don't want to be too intrusive. You want to give them some space. You know, you don't want to feel like you don't want to be with them right at their shoulder the whole time. But I kind of let them go a little bit, start to walk around, and then I'll kind of catch up with them. As they're walking around. So I'll let them go into the kitchen, start looking around, and I'll kind of walk up behind them and just start to ask questions. This is called building rapport. This is a huge part of this. This is what we're just kind of talking about. Just kind of like noticing things that they're wearing. Something to do with their car. Ask them questions. Because I want to know, are they just neighbors and just wanting to see what the new house on the market is in their neighborhood. Are they serious? Do they find the house on Zillow? If they're finding the house on Zillow, that means they're probably motivated buyers, because they're on the internet constantly scouring for the house, and it's not like they just drove by and like, oh cool, I want to go to an open house today and get some free food. It's a little bit different. So it's nice to kind of figure out. It kind of gets you an idea what their situation is and who you're dealing with. And during this time, I'll usually kind of observe and figure out if they're working with an agent or not. You can kind of start to tell.
Yeah, and do you just ask flat out ever? Because I used to ask flat out, are you working with an agent? And every time, what do you think they said?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
So
then I'd
even if
say,
they're not-
who are you working with?
I will-
And they could never mention their
I will
listing.
get to that. That's
Yes.
the last
Okay.
thing I actually
Okay.
do.
Okay.
So, and like I said, this is just what I do myself. But I ask a lot of questions. If you live in the area, how long you've been looking, how old your children, whether it's exciting, and you're just being a normal person at this point, just making friends. Basically, this is your time to make your impression. This is fourth quarter of your football game. This is where they're going to decide, do they like you and would they want to
They
use
call
you?
that the Tom Brady.
Yeah, the Tom Brady, sure.
Yeah.
Are you going to be the realtor that they want to work with? You only have so much time in the house to build rapport with them and kind of get to know them. While I'm walking around, I always have the MLS printout with me because there might be a question that I don't know. What's the room measurements on the master bedroom? I'm not going to know that unless I'm looking at the MLS printout. So I always have that just in case. So I always have one in my pocket, and then I have more on the counter.
Could you carry around a folder, maybe like a nice little binder?
Yeah, that would be nice. That'd be
have
cool.
certain numbers highlighted that you're gonna forget.
Yeah, so you might
maybe.
have a folder with the market report,
Yeah.
all the numbers on the neighborhood, and you might have an MLS printout. That way they have any questions, because again, you're a resource, and they're dependent on you to be able to answer those questions for them.
Perfect.
And it makes you look good when you do know the answers. So as they're looking at the house, you build rapport with them. As they start to leave, you say, you thank them for coming and let them know that they can always reach out to you in case they have any questions about the home. Can go to the next slide. This is where I talk about. And then I say, as they're leaving, I go, this is just what I do. I say, also, if you're not already working with an agent, I'd love to help you in your search or be research to you in any way possible, whether it's a question about the market or looking for a recommendation vendor. I'll say different things about this.
Yeah.
Just letting you know that I am with that I do want their business. I'm asking for their business. And like right here, I say 90% of the time they tell you if you're already working with an agent or not, and if they're not, asking you to follow up sometime the next day to earn their business. It might be that night. They pretty much always tell you at this point. I'll say if you're not already working with an agent, I'd love to be a resource. You're just putting that out there, and then they'll say, "Oh well, actually, my uncle's a realtor." So we're gonna. And I say, "Oh well, family's the best to use." I'll say something like that. I love. I'm glad you're working with family in this business. So or something like that. Or they'll be like, "Oh, we actually, haven't really don't know who we're using yet." And then that's when elevator pitch time comes around. And
That's when the eagle claws come out.
Yeah, exactly. So you gotta have your antennas up. Always be looking.
And
Always
if they don't
ready.
tell you they're working with an agent, they haven't done Cheryl's class.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So you want to set, maybe set up a time to do a buyer consultation at that point. I did an open house in St. John's. This is actually for this recently, and I had somebody that did say, well, we're not really ready yet. And we don't have an agent, but we'll reach out to you. And I'd love to, actually set up a time. I'd love to get you in touch with my lender so you at least what you have to do, to get started. At least you're in a spot to do it when you are ready, And once you get in touch with your lender, you're now in the control seat, which is great because your lender will make sure that they're working with you throughout it.
When you say my lender, do you have probably a bunch of different lenders, or do you personally work with one?
I have a couple. I have one preferred lender, and then I have a couple people that I, depending on who the client is, I'll send to them.
Okay.
So I kind of I kind of like a matchmaker in a way. I have, some clients that align better with other lenders,
Okay.
So
I agree.
I use Todd Johnson. He's a little bit more blue collar. If I'm working with somebody, it's a
Hunter or
yeah. I mean, it really. But he's pretty good with everybody. I say, but if it's like a younger millennial that really wants to learn the process a lot more slower. I don't know. It just depends on it. You can kind of feel it out.
I totally
It's nice
agree.
to get at least 3 lenders that you
No,
trust.
that totally makes sense.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, Todd I use for everything because he's super smart, but sometimes I don't because there's some people I know that are like a little old lady will probably get frustrated with Todd because
Right.
Todd goes, "You just get on the website and just."
That's a good example. So like
Right.
an older lady, I would
Yeah.
never send a Todd.
Yeah, so I might send a Tammy Wittrin because I know that they're gonna handhold and
She
pick
has
up the
a Rolodex.
phone and right, exactly. So it's the same. You know what I mean? So
Okay.
it just depends on who
I sent everybody to Todd just so I know he's gonna get the
Yeah,
job
so-
done and makes it
Right.
easier on me.
It does, and
Um,
having a preferred lender. I mean, we're getting off subject, but having a preferred lender really does
Yeah.
make your job easier. If you've got a client who's like, "Oh, I just got pre-approved at Wells," like it's going to be a disaster. You know, it's just going to be a disaster,
Yeah.
and so you got to try to control that.
And it's good to have other lenders too because it's good to have because they will be sending you leads and nice to have like another lead source too. So you have like 3 lenders that consistently send you leads on a regular basis. That's great, you know.
Mhm.
But if you're only working with one lender, that's it. Then you're only relying on one person to give you leads.
Okay.
That's a great
What
way
is
to
it
get
that's
leads.
the disaster portion of the wells?
Wells is the worst. Absolutely every file I've
Good to
ever had
know.
with Wells.
I hate the big
has-
banks.
Yeah.
I'm being courted now.
Oh, they're the worst.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I've only had one good transaction with them ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she said that.
All right.
I've had
Anyways.
many, but I almost lost like clients forever over them. You know, so oops, sorry. Okay, so now do you want me to go on to the next one? Next slide, or do you have one more?
I think there was one more thing. And then yeah, I hand them. Make sure you hand them your business card and a flyer. That way they have your information in case they want to reach out. Tell them they can have a nice rest of their day and feel free to reach out if they have any questions at all. Just being a resource. And then this is a really important part. I guess the open house app that you use, maybe mine doesn't, I don't know about it, but I usually just have a notepad and I will I will look at the sign sheet, write their name, and then notes about that person down. And it's also really important not to do this for yourself, but for the seller because they're going to want feedback on people that came to the open house. So it's nice to get all the thoughts and recommendations from all the people that came through. And not only does it do that, but it allows you to keep track of whoever they came through. So when the people call you, you remember who they are.
Yeah.
So that's pretty.
It's much more
pretty crucial.
involved than I thought it was going to be. I mean,
Yeah.
I've been the person who goes into the open house and signs
Yeah.
in and shakes hands and,
Right.
and leaves. But in fact, but I didn't know there was this much to it. I mean,
Yeah.
but it all makes sense.
It's a lot of
not-
background work that people
Yeah.
don't know about that we
Yeah,
do.
a lot of stuff goes on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of stuff goes on, afterward
Yeah.
too. So the beginning, a middle, and an
Yeah,
end.
you might have just came in because you're just bored one day, saw open house, but best believe I'm having to give feedback on you coming
Right.
through to the seller.
Well,
Yeah.
and also like too, not just feedback on the home, but I always write down, lady that I talked to that went to Sunset High School. Her kid's name is blah.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. So that
Keep
when I go back to the email, I can say, "Oh, by the way, tell Ryan. I hope he, you know what I'm saying." And then they're like,
it's personal,
"Wow, she
personal, yeah.
remembered my son's name. Like that's crazy,
That's so true.
Because then that way, and also the other flip side of this is, and this is going further, but be honest with your seller. Don't hide stuff. If somebody comes in and says, "Well, the house needs a lot of work," or "the carpets need to be cleaned," or whatever, write that down, because your seller needs to know
And
the
your-
truth.
And your listing agent,
Yeah,
if you're
or the
if
listing.
you're
agent.
filling in
Right.
for somebody.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So like when I do
Which-
open house with Courtney, like my feedback's going to Courtney so that she can relate on the seller,
Exactly.
obviously, right?
Exactly. So, all right.
Okay.
I think we kind of started.
Yeah, make
to
sure the
touch on
lights are
this.
turned off. This is it after the open house is over. Everybody is left. The house is locked. Everyone is left. The place is in the same kitchen. Overall, you guys understand this. Add all emails to your CRM and schedule follow-up calls with everyone who came by. Your line to CRM. Call the seller and give them feedback on how it went. Pick up all the signs that you had put out.
I'd probably pick up the signs before you call the seller, but
Yeah, okay, whatever.
Probably pick up the signs right after
Exactly.
the
Yeah.
open house.
You might have a seller that's calling this minute that open house is
Yeah.
supposed to end. So,
Yeah.
Next slide, please.
okay.
Safety and staying out of liability. All right, this is important. There's a lot of stuff going on out there right now. Are you guys all part of Masters in Real Estate? If not, please
Masteries
join that group
Masters of Real Estate. Yeah.
on Facebook.
You have to
Oh,
join.
I think I joined that yesterday or something.
So,
You have to
Join
be
the-
so
friends
make
with
sure on your
Jeff as well.
Facebook page it says that you're a real estate agent because that's pretty much the point, the rite of passage to
Masters
get
of-
into it. You have to be a
Masters of
realtor.
Real Estate.
Angel, I'm assuming you're already part of it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Andrew
Okay.
is.
Yeah.
I know that for a fact.
Joe Fastolo is the gatekeeper. He was like best friends with Gary Taylor, who used to do these classes.
Yeah.
So he would require everybody to be part of the group. So anyway, so join Masters in Real Estate. Add Joe Fastolo on Facebook, and he'll let you
I don't know
into
who
the
these
group.
people are.
You'll
What, Reddit? You
just
want-
go into Masters of Real Estate
Uh-huh.
and join. He will send you a private message that will say the only way you can join is if I am friends with you on Facebook. And the reason he does that is so he can monitor that you really are a real estate agent, monitor things, because there are some behaviors that would disqualify you from being able to be a Masters of Real
Right.
Estate. So, anyway. But you're gonna talk about the fact that there's a gentleman who's been.
Yes,
dealing
yes.
with
Because the reason I want you guys to join this group because there's always realtors in the local area posting about updates on things that are going on. So it's a great way to stay aware of what's going on in the realtor community and all that. And this is how I find out about all the stuff that's going on. So one, always let someone know close to you that you're doing an open house and what time you'll be hosting, and have them check in with you after it's over. So have some accountability, person that knows that you're doing an open house and everything. Consider doing it with another agent or partner with a lender. If you're in a really poor area of town, this might be something to look into. If you're in Gresham or something like that, it might be, or anywhere really.
Hey, what's wrong with Chris?
I shouldn't use that as
I know, I'm
example.
kidding.
I don't know if there's anybody from Gresham here, but have your phone by you at all times. Ask the seller. This is very, very important because and very relevant to what's happening right now. Ask the seller to please lock up or remove all medications and/or valuable items prior to the open house. So there's people going around right now to open houses, and a lot of familiar faces that realtors are starting to see in the community that are going around to open houses on a weekend basis and taking medications from open houses. It just happened to a lady in our office 2 weeks ago. Stole a bunch of medications from the open house she was hosting from her bathroom. So make sure that you tell her, have that conversation with your seller and have them put everything away. My dad's had a Louis Vuitton bag stolen from an open house.
His man bag.
Man bag.
On one of his sellers.
From his,
From the seller.
Tim's not a Louis Vuitton kind of guy.
Just trying to.
I don't think he's ever gone shopping once in his life. So that's pretty critical. And then make sure everyone has left prior to you leaving and that all windows, doors are locked and shut. There was a thing going around before, probably a couple years ago, that there would be people that would come through open houses and they would unlock certain windows so that they could come back another day, another night, during that night it could be, and come back and be able to get to that window and break in, obviously.
Yeah.
So that's another thing you want to
I just watched a pretty freaky movie called Open House.
Yeah.
Oh, it's on Netflix, right?
On Netflix or
Yeah, I saw that
or is
too.
it on,
Don't
there's-
recommend-
Maybe you
there's a
don't watch
couple of
that.
them.
Don't watch that.
There's one on like
Seriously.
Voodoo.
I do not recommend that movie at all.
You saw it?
Yeah.
I like scary movies, but I
Yes,
do
we
not
saw it.
recommend that.
I heard it was a crappy movie.
Yeah, I
It's pretty,
heard it got low reviews
crappy,
too.
but it,
Are
but
you
it,
not
but it
recommending it
makes
because
you
it was
think.
bad or because it was scary?
Yes, this is
Because it's still with me in a bad way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, okay, I'll
You
tell you
watch
this
scary movies, so
afterward.
definitely can't watch it because I don't watch scary
Sure,
movies
you keep
either.
going and then I'll talk about the
Yeah.
voodoo house later on.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's it. What's the next slide?
I think that might be, oh darn it, this thing times out
You're
so
gonna send all these
fast.
slides to us?
Yes.
It's pretty
And
fast.
your flyer?
It's like 15 seconds.
I know.
The flyer? Yeah.
Okay,
I don't know if it's that fast, but
Okay.
True.
All right. And the flyer also, before I forget, write this down. I use an app called Canva, Canva, and I make all my marketing materials through this app, and it's free unless you want to buy certain images or designs, but
yeah,
you
and
can-
it really, they
Canva?
make nice
Is
stuff.
it an iPad app or an
it's
Android app?
it's on your desktop.
It's a desktop app.
Yeah. So
So go to Google Canva.
Yes, yeah. GoogleCanva.com. Create an account in 2 seconds. You can create an account, and they have tons of designs that you can customize, and not just flyers, but brochures, Facebook ad designs, anything you can
Okay,
make.
thanks. Appreciate that.
Yeah, that's huge. So, open houses are one of the best ways to get business starting out. It's all dependent on your ability to follow up.
Yeah.
If they're a motivated buyer, you should be calling them at least once a week. If not, add them to a long-term drip campaign and drip out at least once a month. So we've already kind of talked about that a little bit. Next one. Now it's time for your first open house. Ask your accountability partner in your office if they'll pair up with you for your first open house and schedule open houses for Saturday and Sunday. If you're a new broker and you got the time to do it, I think it's a no-brainer. You should be doing open houses every weekend and the chance you get, because it's the easiest way to get business out there.
I
You
agree.
know.
Yeah.
So there's people that you know are looking for a house. I mean, you're gonna get some neighborhood draggers.
And then
but
again, how do we because we're all pretty new, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe not everybody, but so how do we tap into that? Do we
Just go around
to
the office.
and
Yeah, just
say,
go around
"Hey,
the office to the brokers who have listings and say, hey, are you going to do open house, or do you have any open houses scheduled, or a listing that's coming up that you want to have an open house for? I am totally game. I'll rock this. Like,
Okay.
just give it to me. And the most, I mean, like he said earlier, I really do not like doing my own open houses.
Okay.
So I give them away all the time. I'll do one
And that's how
day,
most
and then I'll
brokers'
give them
mindsets
this.
are,
Right.
you know?
And then you had like some certain criteria earlier of the ones that you like to do, you know, good area, you know, close to shopping, close to this, but our net is pretty wide right now. So
Right.
if we're
So
like,
I
hey,
just
we've got
do
our hand
anything.
up in the air and we
Yeah.
end up out, say, and
Yeah, so
I've
I
done
would
it.
look at with the list, all the listings that
I
your
guess
broker that
practice
brokers-
makes perfect, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I would look through all the listings that all the brokers have in the office, and then target, you know, a agent that maybe has a
Okay.
listing that you
Yeah.
would think would have a good
Yeah.
turnout. You know, like Matt Ortiz, everybody's doing open houses for those every weekend.
Yeah,
You can
touch on this.
no, on the
Oh.
the camcorder. You know, it's great. You know, it's a good. You know, he's open.